What is going on, everyone? It's Jeff from HardToComeBuy. I appreciate you stopping by for the second episode of the how-to series where I'm interviewing different people in our community to talk about and help share their knowledge and their passion. You know, that's kind of comic adjacent for everyone here. Man, we've got a good show today. You know, I've been talking with this next guest here for a long time now. We're in a lot of the same groups. You know, we've been chatting for a long time, and this is a subject that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been trying to start a podcast for a while, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? I'll do it later. I get too busy. So finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the YouTube thing. I'm going to get people who actually know how to do it, get them on board so I can learn how to do it a little bit better. And hopefully you guys can learn a little bit more as well. I appreciate you hanging out in the live chats, and then we'll kind of see who's going on the replay. Make sure you click the like and the subscribe down below, comment down below. If you have anything you want to share your knowledge on, please reach out to me, and we'll hook up and we'll do some things for that. But this next guest right here, it's going to be Kyle, aka Nerdpool Prime. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's all over Instagram right now. He has one of the successful podcasts going, Nerdtooine and a movie podcast. He's interviewed celebrities, everything from TV show to movies to artists and creators in the comic book industry. So I want everyone to give a warm welcome to Kyle, aka Nerdpool Prime. Kyle,
how's it going, everybody?
Welcome to the show.
What's up? Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I think I might have had that intro in too long. I think it was on a loop.
Yeah, that's a custom music right there from my boy Nitro. He does some good work, so he's on Instagram if you want to check him out. But yeah, it's I let my intro go for like 30 seconds. I don't know if that's the right thing, but that's how I think it's perfect for me. I don't know, but that's what we go with on mine.
Hey, as long as it works, man, that's all that matters. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you got started, podcasting. What equipment you have, what's your approach to it, how to make some money, or what else you do, how to actually get some of those celebrities that you get on your show. So we're going to talk all about those things, and we're going to talk a little bit about the charity work that you do as well. So I appreciate you coming on board, but it's going to be the first question I always ask everyone is, what was your first comic you ever got?
So my first comic I ever got was a Wolverine comic. I don't have it anymore, and it's been so long since I've actually had it. I don't even remember which one it is, but the one that got me back into comics was Civil War #1. For many years, I was out of comics when I was in high school playing sports. I thought it wasn't the cool thing to do, so I was like, I'm not reading comics anymore. But I saw that on the shelf, Civil War #1, and that was it. I jumped back in, and I didn't give a crap what anyone thought about it because that whole storyline got me hook, line, and sinker. And I think out of all the issues, I think I'm missing like 15, and that's including all the connected ones. Like I went on a hunt after I
did the whole thing. You did the whole universe.
Oh yeah,
you go ahead on that.
I was not playing. Like, I mean, I've had to go back now and get a whole bunch more because I didn't realize how many I actually was missing. But now, since I've gone back and hunted for a while, I'm mixed about like 15 or so issues, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And some of those covers are just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Secret War is one of the first ones that I got into. The whole Mike Zeck covers, especially the issue 10, where Doom is just beat up, bloodied, with the fist going in the air. I'm like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Martian Manhunter, how's it going, man? I appreciate you showing up here. Let us know in the live chats if anyone's got any questions you want to ask Kyle here. We'll get into it a little bit, and we'll try and do a little PowerPoint presentation. I don't know how it's going to work, so let's find out real quick and kind of get into it here, because I know we've been promising to stay on track. I can't guarantee it's going to stay on track the whole time, but we'll do what we can to kind of pick Kyle's brain as much as possible so everyone here can learn how to do a podcast, get out there, and just kind of share your knowledge with everyone. Okay, so let's see if we do this here. We're going to share the screen. We're going to do a window. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Hey, it kind of worked. All right. So how to start a podcast. Obviously, we got Kyle here from Nerdpool Prime here, Nerdtooine and a movie podcast. So actually, I guess I got to first ask this a little bit. How did you get into the podcasting and why?
Well, so for most of my life, I've annoyed my family and friends with all of my theories and just my general way too much knowledge of comics and all things nerdy. So I tried to find outlets for that, and I started writing initially for The Cultured Nerd online, and I found out that I had something to say. Like I had opinions, and I had like knowledge that I wanted to tell people, and I didn't want to ask permission to do it. So I've been thinking about I'm gonna do a podcast. And then one day I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And it was during The Mandalorian. When The Mandalorian first came out, I said, that's it. I'm doing it now. My initial plan was to start it this January, like to get all this stuff together. And then that happened, and I was like, nope, that's it. And I reached out to some of my one of my favorite podcasts, Nerd by Word, and we talked, and they just gave me some pointers on like what equipment to buy, and then I just did that and hit the ground running.
That's awesome. Like I said, I think all of us can kind of relate. the Comics Lounge, same thing, man. He's like same.
Yeah,
we all kind of have that same thing where we kind of I don't want to say annoy our loved ones, but I know my wife sometimes gets tired of me just talking about this over and over again. And she's like, what? I just got to talk about this.
And now I have a really good outlet to do it, and I get to do it. And it's really been one of the true joys of my life so far, to be honest.
That's awesome. Like I kind of said in the intro here, I've kind of put this stuff together. I looked at doing this for a long time, so I just put some stuff together and just want to get your thoughts and everything, see how off track I am here, and kind of show us how it's all done. So
fair enough.
Really, when we start talking about podcasting, you really kind of said that you said, starting this podcast has been the most meaningful thing you ever done. Kind of what does that mean for you?
Well, it's starting a community. Like I've got people that from the very first episode that I dropped that have been supporting me from the get-go, and who have just been like, wow, I really love your take. And I didn't even notice that when I do my breakdowns, and like it means like I said, it means a lot to me to be able to help other nerds who may not know as much as I do, or have the OCD that I do to go hunt down and research every single little thing I see, so I can give them the backstory without them having to do the research. And if I can help any regular nerd become a super nerd, I'm all about it.
That's gonna be the new T-shirt. Super nerd right there. That's your superpower, man. I'm the same way. I just love doing research, and that's actually what I do a lot in my actual job. And to be able to, like you said, share that knowledge, help some people out, cut some time out of their life where they don't have to dig around for some of this information. And again, just talking about the theories of all the stuff. That's one thing that the MCU has done an awesome job, with all the Disney Plus shows. There's been so much speculation and so many things and so many ways it could have gone. I think that's really done a lot for kind of our community and our little world. It's just been fun talking about what could possibly be in these kind of things. And it's nice to have that outlet.
I still have a WandaVision theory that I made prior to the start of the series that is actually still alive to this day, by the way.
Yeah, I actually saw I saw that. And you kind of hit a lot of that. You weren't jumping into the full-blown craziness that's going to be going on. You're like, I saw the trailer. Here's what it looks like it's going to be. That's kind of what it did. It didn't veer off and all these crazy, like everyone didn't see Mephisto everywhere.
Well, so, and when I did that theory, I wrote Mephisto initially and was like, no.
Nope.
it may not be Mephisto. They might do a kind of like. So I was like, let me take that out. So the theory still is active to this day. So let's see if they come back in Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much, I didn't think Mephisto was going to be either, just more for the fact that Disney's so tied with China, and them to have a Satan-type character show up. I'm like, I just don't see that happening in a Disney Plus show. But I did think there was going to be maybe a hint of a Nightmare or someone else, something that made a little bit more sense. So I thought that, again, mine didn't pan out either. But you're still on the track. You still got the March Madness card going, so... Duffy, how's it going, man? Happy Sunday to you.
Hey, Duffy.
If everyone has not checked out, make sure you check out Duffy Boy Comics. That's where both of us, get our stuff from. He does an awesome IG Wednesday live new comic book day show. You get awesome bundles. You get chance to win huge incentives, ratio incentives. So you got to check Duffy Boy out. K-Pop, how's it going? Appreciate you stopping by, learning a little bit here from the master, from Kyle, about how to do some podcasting here.
I don't know if I would call myself a master, but I will accept that.
You're a couple steps ahead of all of us, so you are the master. we bow to that. So that's all it takes. You're just a few steps ahead. Hey, that's great. Let's help pull everyone else up the hill, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So just again, a couple of quick things. I'm building kind of like a pillar. Obviously, probably the people watching this is going to be kind of similar to us, but just anyone else who happens to be watching this is really kind of defining your audience. Who are the people you want to attract to your podcast? That means your guests, your audience, customers. They're all the same thing. Who is your ideal person you want to talk to? Again, all we're doing is we're just communicating. We're talking to each other. Jeanette Francis, how's it going? Good to see you here as well. We got the whole group here.
Everyone's here. Well, for me, if you're talking about like for my audience, I will talk to anyone. So
whether they want to hear it or not, I will talk to you.
Exactly. So for me, I want anyone who wants to listen. I'm getting an echo right now. That's weird.
Oh, I probably was drinking my tea. Sorry.
But for guests, I mean, I have the want for pretty much anyone who does anything in entertainment. My podcast is not just about nerd stuff. Like for me, and I've said this numerous times, you can nerd out about anything. So these guys who play fantasy football, I do too, but they're sports nerds. They just don't want to admit it. So for me, it's anyone that if I like your product or whatever you do, that's who I want to talk to. And that's why I'm glad to be doing this on my own. Like I have not many people do a podcast by themselves. They've got a co-host or someone doing the editing or something. I do everything. I do the editing, the booking, the posting. As we were talking before, I don't get much sleep with all the stuff I'm doing right now. But it's worth it because I get to do a lot more than I ever thought I could. Really. Yeah,
you can pivot, do whatever you want to. You can talk to whoever you want to. So yeah, that is pretty cool that way. And like I said, most people will have some other things people will do or edit. I mean, you're doing this. You're a one-man show. You're doing it all. So that's kind of cool. You have that kind of ability to just turn and talk to whatever you want to. And you're right. People can nerd out about any subject. If you're passionate about something specific and you dive into it deep and like you start doing that techno babble where you're talking and you're spouting out words that make sense to you, but anyone outside of your little bubble would not understand, then you're a nerd. So welcome to the nerdhood.
Yeah, I say like being a nerd is just being apologetically okay with liking whatever you want, and
a good way of putting it.
Yeah, like I don't care how weird I look wearing like nerd stuff out as a 30-year-old. I really don't care what you think. I want to wear a Deadpool shirt. I'm gonna wear a Deadpool shirt. Simple as that.
Yep, I hear you, man. So yeah, why people should listen to you. Again, all the kind of things you would probably, this is all stuff we're talking about what you do beforehand. So what you're kind of planning out, and then we'll talk into the tools and then, how to get the guests on, especially the big name people that you get. And then, how to maybe get some revenue out of this, and then we'll talk about some other stuff afterwards. But yeah, amen. You said it, Comic. Appreciate that. Let's see. So your homework, if you do want to start something or you do want to get into this a little bit more, just write down your who, what, where, and why in just a single sentence of each. You do that and you're ahead of the game of 90% of the people already. Mm-hmm. So you get that down, you're on your way right there. Next thing you do, you just get a content plan. How far in advance do you plan out your stuff right now?
Well, usually I go week by week because I do a lot of breakdowns. So it's usually based off of a show or something like that. And then I do like news. So based on whatever news comes up. But like when I do like interviews and stuff like that, I try to plan those out.
You got to plan those
at least 3-4 weeks in advance. Because I've had a lot of big name people that have had scheduling conflicts and said they could do it or something came up. And I mean, that's one thing about these big name people is that you got to understand, one, they're regular people. Like they're real people just doing stuff that we wish we could. It's not like they're these superheroes. They're just normal people.
Wait, I mean, they don't fly around in the clouds and have...
Even if we see them do it on the screens, I assure you, they really can't do that in real life. So, and then with them being so busy, sometimes things come up. Like I was supposed to interview one of the Dora Milajes like 3 weeks ago, but she's now also on She-Hulk. So that's starting to film, and she's going for fight training for Black Panther 2. I mean, like she's got so much going on that I get put on the back burner, which is fine because I understand that.
Sure.
And I feel like where a lot of people might go wrong was they'd be pressuring. Like, well, hey, you said this. Well, listen, like I get busy. I mean, I've canceled on people too. I mean, so you just gotta make sure that you realize who these people are and that they're real people. And you can always plan again later, rework things, move things around. I mean, it's when it comes to the planning of the episodes like that. Oh, that's. Ooh, I try to get that as far out as possible so I can have room to work if I have to.
Right. So you basically have different levels of kind of like a planner that you do. You got stuff obviously because your podcast is around like current events and TV shows and movies. So yours is a little bit shorter time frame, but then you also got some midterm stuff, and then you got longer term like the interviews and trying to get some of the big name celebrities on there. Which we'll talk about, kind of like a Dream 100 situation in a little bit. So you got different levels that you have to keep turning things out.
Yeah. No, and then it also part of it is running the Instagram pages. I've got like you said, I've got like 4 pages at this point. So those I do that every day. Like I'm just making like researching and doing things every single day, like almost every waking moment that I'm not either in school or working.
Pretty much.
That's what I do.
And if anyone is not following, make sure down below, we've got all the linked information there. I think I've got all the accounts linked there, but I might have missed a couple. But seriously, if you comment on any of his posts, you send the DM, he will respond back like instantly almost, no matter what time. I've sent things I commented at 1, 2 in the morning, and he replies back right away. I'm like, dude, do you not sleep? What are you doing? Really. He's like, nope, really. I do not sleep.
Well, like we were talking earlier, I mean, it's a grind. Like you can't just hope everything works out in perfect business hours, 9 to 5. I mean, especially when like the reason I had an artist for the Star Wars High Republic comic that we had it all scheduled and then it fell through the last second because he's on the other side of the world. So he was trying to get something for at night and it worked out for my morning. And then everything he had too much stuff going on. So he couldn't do it. So like you can't ever really stop. I mean, I know I don't.
and that's one of the things that some people will put the reason why they haven't done this, why they haven't launched a podcast or done YouTube or done any other platform that you're comfortable with. Some people don't like being on camera. Some people like the written word. Some people just like talking. So there's a different platform for everyone. So everyone can find their own way to get their voice out there, to share their knowledge. And I encourage everyone to kind of do that. Everyone can become a creator. It really is fulfilling. Like you said, it is a blast. But some people get hung up on some of these points like, man, I got to do this all the time. It seems very daunting. That's why, you just start it. Basically, like you said, you were going to plan yours out. You were going to start yours in January this year. But, you dove in. You started right away. I started YouTube. Just dive in. Just instead of putting it off, just start doing it and just have a very basic calendar saying, okay, here's when I'm going to do this. Here's when I'm going to do that. Here's when I'm going to do that. And just kind of go from there. And it's amazing how quick that kind of like falls into place a little bit in that routine, because it really is just a routine, right? To get in that routine doing it, but you got to be consistent. That's the only thing I can say is you got to be consistent. If you do like one episode and then like 4 or 5 weeks later, you do another one, that's not going to be, nearly as impactful for you. And you're going to fall out of that routine a lot more. You do it a lot more. You should be good to go.
Absolutely. First of all, hey, Noah, what's up, Noah?
What's up, Noah?
He just stopped by.
Noah's got the best YouTube channel. Everyone is not following Noah.
Absolutely. Noah's awesome. No, like like you said, it's like that's one of the things that stops most people even after they start is that they can't be continuous. Now, I go every week almost nonstop, sometimes multiple episodes a week.
Yeah,
I'll be
do.
great. I'll be honest. This week I actually got my second COVID shot on Friday, and it put me out all day and all night yesterday, so I didn't get an episode in this week. But
you're here. Everyone can get your jokes of Kyle right here.
Exactly. That's why I was like, oh, thank God we have this, because I wouldn't have any content this week. But no, my first episode, when I did it, it took me when I say I'm not kidding, about 100 takes. 100 takes, because I tried to get it perfect. And one thing I realized watching some of these podcasts, like the Darkest Timeline podcast, like Joel McHale and Ken Jeong, the best kind is one where it's authentic and it's just you talking. And if you have too many of these perfect moments where there's no mistakes, then it doesn't come off as authentic. And now I do it all one shot. I have breaks that I take in between, but each recording, each segment is one shot. I have it planned out. I do the script throughout the whole week, and then I just go and I just one shot.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't edit any of my stuff, and everything I do is live. Mostly because it's easier, and I'm like, you know what, we got it done the first try, perfect. I'm not gonna do it again. I'm just gonna do this, and eventually I can get polished like you. I can do it a little bit better. But for now, I just want to get in the routine and kind of do something on there. But like I said, people will get hung up on that. Everything's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be perfect, and nothing will ever be perfect. And like you said, the best content is not perfect. So yeah, there's a lot of resources out there that people can grab, look at things. If you're looking for ideas, you can go to, Answer the Public. You can type in YouTube, the start of what you want to do. There's tons of ideas for podcast episodes. So never have to worry about you're not going to have enough information on podcasting. I don't know how you do kind of a structure of an episode. Here's just kind of something that, I kind of threw up on there. How do you kind of structure your podcast right now?
It varies from week to week depending on the content. Like for instance, the last 2 episodes I had were almost specifically and only Falcon and Winter Soldier breakdowns, because I took real deep dives into every
big into those.
Like every single little tiny thing you may have missed, I dove deep. So like those are different, but the majority of the time I like to do about 10-15 minutes of news, depending on the amount of news we get, obviously, that week, because some weeks are bigger than others. And then I like to do a little bit of a Marvel or type of like superhero content. And then when everything's working correctly, I also do a little bit of community content at the end, because I'm a huge fan of the show Community. And I'm pushing for a movie. And I'll admit that probably but the last 5 or 6 episodes, besides the interview with Darson Solomon, who's actually on the show, I haven't done much community stuff because there's been so much other stuff going on that I've let that go a little bit, because it's a show that's complete. So I can always come back to that at any time. There's no new news unless there's breaking news about the movie.
Right. I mean, and you'll talk about toys, some of the hottest toys that are out there right now. We're talking about the Optimus Prime, which is the coolest toy ever.
And when it came out, I had like a $700, like I looked at it, I was like, man, I could literally buy that right now. And I'm kicking myself for not doing it, because they're selling for like $10,000-$15,000 right now. Like I would have been happy flipping that and never opening it, just knowing I had it at one point and flipped it for a big payday.
That's a lot of times you can just hold it and like, this is so cool. You want to pay me how much for it? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I can buy more comics or something else, but that's totally cool. Just to say you kind of had it.
Take one picture for the Instagram and then.
That's right.
Look, I had it. I swear.
So again, the basic structure that I had an idea of, I was going to have the kind of the origin, the backstory, what was, the desire, the struggle, like why I did it. Obviously you run into a struggle and you hit a wall, what the lessons you learned, how you overcame that, and just have those kind of cliffhangers like we were kind of talking about beforehand, like a Dr. Phil show. In the next episode, here's what that's going to be. Here's what we covered on the last episode, so people can kind of see those a little bit and be like, oh, okay, I can hook on the next one. I'll do the next one. That's always the goal, right? So we talked about how you do some of the stuff. But really, the one everyone wants to know is man, how are you getting these celebrities?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of them contact me. They'll see something I do and they'll like or comment. Like I've had some of like Ario Andito, like he follows me and he just like actually comments on my stuff.
That's awesome.
It's like I do comic book reviews, and on almost every single one of the Marvel Star Wars ones, I like the writer, the author, the writer, the graphics, and like the letter are always like liking and commenting on it. I'm so happy you like it. Like it, I just do my normal thing. I see something I like and I talk about how much I love it. Yeah. And some people will respond well with that. Like I actually, like, no lie, I posted something about how excited I was that Rosario Dawson was gonna be Ahsoka Tano. Like I made this whole post about how like you guys don't realize how amazing it is to have an actress like this coming into the Star Wars universe. And she messaged me, was like, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be part of the Star Wars universe. May the Force be with you. Like, and I literally, when I tell you, I couldn't even like fathom that happened. Like I didn't reach out or anything. She was like, thank you so much. I mean, I tagged her in it, of course, but like, I
tag everyone. Anyone to
say, oh no,
especially that level. But yeah, I'm gonna look at them like, is this a dummy account? What is this?
I thought that at first. And then when it was reposted, I was like, oh my, it really was her. Oh my God. Yeah. Like and sometimes you got to do some things. Like I spoke to Ken Jeong, but I did that because he had his podcast and he had a VIP section. I paid extra to be in the VIP section so I could talk to him.
You went in the champagne room. Okay.
hey, you get to touch there. That's all I'm saying. But so sometimes it just works out where, because they're people and they're artists, and when you respect their work and they see your work, they do the same thing. Like that's why I keep trying to tell people. And like I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people in our community, which honestly, this is one of the best communities I've ever been in. I was in the Star Wars community on Facebook many years ago. I was doing live shows every week, getting 10 to 15,000 people streaming live. And when I went to start my own, I got death threats. Like I legit, like I have not been on Facebook since, except to just sign in for the Marvel game I play. That's the only reason why you'll ever see me on Facebook is just to sign in just so I can keep playing that Marvel game. But I literally had to get off Facebook, and I went off all social media for almost a year and a half because I just couldn't, like, people literally were like, I'm going to find you. I'm going to kill you. How dare you leave the Star Wars? I'm like, whoa. No, I thought we were all fans here. Like, what's going on? Like, this is ridiculous. But the comic book and the nerd podcast community on like Instagram is one of the best that I've had. And Bravo Collections has been one of my biggest supporters from day one. We've had long talks about how these people are they're people. Like, you look at these celebrities and like, oh my God, they're playing in Star Wars or they're in Marvel, but they're just people. And that's how you get them to respond, because you treat them not as a character or this super celebrity. You talk to them. You reach out, see what happens. I mean, I've had a lot of celebrities that haven't even responded to me. And some like not even very big celebrities, like just people who I like in shows that are like, I'm like, well, you only got 3,000 followers. What's up? You want to let me interview you? No response. Okay. I mean, whatever. But I mean, so it just depends. You just got to keep putting that hook out there and see what you can reel in. Yeah.
That's awesome advice, man. So if everyone is not paying attention, man, there's some nice gold nuggets being dropped right now. All this is kind of like if you're familiar with the marketing side, it's called Dream 100. So you'll take, whether it's a Instagram, like the top 100 people in your niche, and like say in our comic niche, the top 100 accounts you would love to be able to do something with, and you write all those down. And you do the same thing for YouTube, right? You write the celebrities, like write all those though. And then you start doing different things to try and bring value to them. Like you said, you're getting most of your stuff because you're just putting out stuff you like. You like what they're doing. You put it in your format and say, hey, this is just awesome stuff. I appreciate you guys making this stuff. And then they come to you. You're just adding value and just showing how much you appreciate stuff. and it's helping spread their words. The more you do for them like that, the more people will come to you. And you kind of do that for each one of the categories. And like you said, you're not going to get everyone. If you get 2% responding to you, that's awesome.
Yep.
But it all kind of snowballs, because once you start getting the different tiers and start getting that, everyone will start kind of coming in a little bit more, and it will snowball, and it will go, and you just got to be consistent.
Yep.
So how to get, a little bit more of an audience for you, there's two things, one, bringing value, trying to do something different that everyone else isn't doing, bringing some value to them that they haven't heard before, or maybe not in the way that you tell it. And then you borrow credibility. You bring in big people, like Nerdtooine, like Kyle here, and say, hey, you want to do an interview, and he lets his people know, like, hey, and everything starts growing that way. So you just, again, you do stuff that you love doing, you bring value to people, and obviously you can do, all the posts and the tags and the hashtags that you're doing, but you just got to be involved in the community. Like you said, the YouTube community has been really good, and the IG community, like you said, I was on Facebook for a long time too. I did a couple of groups on there. I'm still part of a couple of groups that, like you said, I may check in once a month just to see what's kind of going on there. But I got burnt out on the Facebook side, and they really are cutthroat out there. Yeah. It really is a different group of people. And I liked IG when it first came out. And then I got away from that. I'm like, it's just pictures. I don't care. Right. And then I got kind of back into it a little bit. I'm like, wow, this is actually really cool, because the community here was very different than any other social platforms. So it's been a lot of fun just kind of getting back into the IG community and all the support that everyone has. Everyone in the chat right now talking like Noah and K-pop and everything. I appreciate it. Let's see, how long K-pop is saying here. How long have you guys been streaming?
Do you mean like right now, or like on my
exactly 32 minutes right now?
I'm actually at under a year still, to be honest with you. I think my year comes up. I gotta double check. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's coming up in about 2-3 months, where it will be a full year of doing my podcast. I'm still very young comparative to a lot of the other pages.
Yeah, and just the success you had just being consistent with everything and just bringing value and just doing something you love, you've gotten all that success already. I mean, I only started doing, actually live sales on YouTube, with a couple other groups on YouTube. I just started doing that 4 months ago, and they all were starting to do other shows. Like, you should do something else. I'm like, I know I want to do something. You try to do something a little bit different, I don't know. So that's when I started, the more, Mondays with Shelby Comics. So we just talk about more of the history about comics, because he is a history guru about comics. He owned a comic book store in the 80s and 90s, and he just loves talking about that. And so do I. And like I said, find someone you can nerd out with. Man, it's just fun talking about the history of comics. So we do that one over here. And then I do the interviews also. So it just, again, I haven't been doing it very long. Kyle hasn't been doing it very long. So K-pop, if you want to do it, just jump in. I know you got some awesome drawings that you do. You can teach people how to draw, whatever you want to do.
And that's the thing about podcasts. For me, like, the podcast is almost like comic books. It's so malleable. You can do whatever you want and tell whatever story or speak about anything you want on a podcast. And there are people who will listen to it and and you'll be surprised how many people actually share your interest. It doesn't have to just be nerd stuff. I mean, they're freaking crime thriller podcasts where they talk about how people die. I mean, so if you got a great thing like drawing, like, especially if you have it, you don't even have to be your face. You can have just a camera on your drawing and talk as you're doing it. Oh man, how many people would tune into that every week? Just saying.
Yeah, and there's different ways that you can repurpose everything. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But man, if you just do, you've been streaming art on and off for 15 years. Holy cow, you got us all beat.
Wow,
look at that, 15
That's
years.
Impressive.
That is awesome.
And here, sir. So I bow.
Yes. Okay. We got to get you on the show next.
Amen.
Hey, Bob, reach out to me. You can repurpose all your stuff too. So I know you've got the YouTube channel, that you do stuff here, and we talk about. I know you actually stream when you do your interviews. You do it through your program first. And that's how you do it. And sometimes you'll do the YouTube part of it where you do Zoom. I know you're talking about StreamYard, doing that in a little bit. But yeah, you do one thing essentially, and you can pull different pieces out of that. So you do one interview, you can turn that into text, so you can put it on your website. So people if they want to read it, they can read it on your website. If you want to pull out, bits and pieces of quotes to make memes or to put them on social media tags, you can do that. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do while you do it on the podcast and put it on YouTube. So you can do a lot with just one piece of content that you do. You can make 30 different pieces just from that one thing.
And I gotta admit, I'm slacking on that. Like I've had interviews with some big people who have said some great things. Like I had an interview with Jason Douglas who did the parallel comic for Source Point Press, and he's the one. I have to admit, I'm stealing his line. He's the one who said comic books are malleable and they can tell any story. He said it maybe he worded it much better than I did, and I should have. I probably should make an image about that. With like you said, I do a lot of stuff, and that's some of the things that I need to step up a little bit. That's the one thing. I mean, I've had all this success, and I still can improve. I can still do better.
Right, you're still learning. All this stuff. It's just start it. Just get going. It's like Noah does. His dad makes him keep going. If you screw up, you keep going. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Noah puts out awesome content.
The show must go on.
That's right. And really, when we talk about the tools you need to do podcasting, man, it's really, really affordable to do. Pretty much everything is free, or just, to buy a mic if you don't already have one.
Yes. So all I had to do, I bought a mic and a stand. I think it was off Amazon for $60. Came with all the stuff I needed, straight USB. It plugs in, and that's basically it. And then I use Audacity, which is a free recording studio. And then I use Podbean. Podbean is not free. I do pay a little bit for that just to post everything weekly, and also to all the other different things. I think they have a free version. I don't use the free one.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of went through all this stuff. So everyone knows, again, this mic setup, it's everything you need. Just plugs right in. It's super easy. The link is down below. It's not an affiliate link or anything. It links down below. Go to Amazon, buy it. It's $59. You get everything you need right there. It's actually probably a nicer mic because your voice on your podcast sounds amazing than mine. I need to upgrade mine. And like you said, the next step is, once you're doing that, you use Audacity. So you want to explain what Audacity is?
Yeah. So Audacity is a recording studio that is free. It's I think the proper term is like Source Point or something like that. I can't remember the actual terminology, but it's basically crowd built. So it's just updated with any problems or issues. It just gets reported and they fix it. It's just 100% free. You just go on. I typed in literally Audacity on Google, and it's like the first link. I'm sure Jeff probably has a link down below for that.
Links down below.
But yeah, and it has everything. I mean, I'll admit, I used to, back in the day, I used to do music, and I'm talking like $400 or $500 worth of equipment. I had a studio condenser mic. I had an interface. I had Pro Tools. I had the top of the line.
You had the whole thing. You went all out.
And to be honest with you, the recording aspect, like the program itself, Audacity can do pretty much everything that Pro Tools can, as long as you know how to do it. So for bang for your buck for free, absolutely worth it. 100%.
Yeah, there's tons of YouTube videos for instructions on how to use it. It's pretty easy. It's very user friendly to do.
Absolutely.
It's just going to clean up your stream. It gets rid of all the crackles and popples, everything else that you're getting there, and it makes you sound sexy and smooth.
Why, thank you.
And then Podbeam is basically that's a hosting thing, right? That blasts it out.
Yeah. So that when I post an episode, I post it to Podbean, and it goes on their website, but it also posts to Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Facebook, which I don't really go on the Facebook that much. And I'm dragging my feet on getting the iTunes because I personally don't have any Apple devices, so I'd have to set up an account and do all this stuff that I haven't done yet. But eventually, we'll get on iTunes as well. But yeah, it just you post it to that, and then it shares it everywhere else.
It takes care of it for you. Like I said, you don't have to set up accounts for Spotify and everything else. You put it in one place and blast it out everywhere, and you're done. The only thing you would have to do, like I said, is if you want to do iTunes, set up through iTunes. But that's the only thing. So it's super simple when you're talking about tools. You basically got 2 free tools and a mic for $60. That's all you need, and you're up and running.
Yeah, and like you said, most of my content is without videos. Like when I do because I'm by myself. When I'm recording it, I don't record myself. I don't. That feels weird. Like if I'm doing an interview, of course, I'll have a video going. But so you don't even need to have a camera if you want to just do only audio. Only audio works for a lot of people. So don't feel pressure and the need to show your face or anything like that. If you don't feel comfortable in front of the camera, just do audio.
Right.
Simple as that.
That's why I said there's a place for everyone. Like I said, if you're just a good writer and you just want to write and you don't even want to talk, then just write it. You know, you can make awesome posts on there. You can have a great website. If you just don't want to be on camera, like Kyle said, then hey, you know, do the podcasting. And if you want to just be on camera, which I hate being on camera, but I'm doing it anyway, just to kind of force myself to be a little uncomfortable and get it out there. You know, you can do that too. So there's a million different ways you can do it. And then my favorite part of all the shows that I do.
I can feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
My favorite part, my favorite clip. There's obviously not a ton of money in podcasting, as we know, until you get to like a Joe Rogan level where you're buying $1 million mansions. But there's definitely stuff that you can do. And I know you just started, you know, kind of monetizing some things a little bit. So what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So when I started this, I had no intention of
no one does. Yeah. You don't
trying to get like, there are people who like, I'm going to do a podcast. So I get this, I can do that or do whatever. I do it because I enjoy it. So I have had different companies contact me because they just see what I'm doing. I will eventually get, you know, my logo put on things. I haven't done that yet. It's just stuff that I just, you know, don't have time to do right now. I mean, I do have sponsors. I raise energy. Use my code Nerdtooine at checkout. You get a 15% discount. I've had a couple ones that didn't pan out. Like I had a clothing line, Black Lives Matter clothing line that I started and then they never got back with me, and then, you know, different things like that. And I get contacted all the time. Like I actually just got recently contacted by a let's say a men's grooming line. That had a very interesting name, and that's probably the reason why I haven't even like responded to them yet, because I kind of want to do it just because I'd be required to say the name, and I don't know how your viewer age is, so I'm not going to say it here, but let's just say it's a little provocative, and I like being a little provocative, so I've thought about doing stuff like that, but there's also like which I haven't done yet. It's like Patreon. Where you can get it crowdfunded by your viewers. One of these days I'll do that too. But again, like I said, I do it just more for the community. So when I get around to getting on, getting a patron account or something like that, that's great. It's just an extra added bonus for me because anything I do is just because I love it. So if I'm going to get a little money on the side from it, let's do it. But it's not my drive.
Yeah, you can't go into it saying I'm going to make a bunch of money doing it. Like I know people or friends who started YouTube channels and like I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to get all that ad money coming in when I get 1,000 subscribers on there, and I'm going to retire because they watch the How to Beast and all these other guys who are making just tons of money doing this, and then they get in it and realize it's a grind. And if you don't love it, if you're not passionate about it, you're going to fail. You're going to founder. You can't go into it like you want to make money, doing any of this stuff. If it comes down the road. And most of the people I know who have got things like the Patreon accounts that are doing it, all the money that they're getting from that is all going back into the community. Yep. So yeah, you'll pay $4, $10 a month or whatever that is, but then they'll do big prizes every month, and it all goes into that to help build the community up even more. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, I know from the marketing side of when I did stuff over there, I had a team that would reach out to influencers and say, hey, would you, be willing to do this for, a commission, or if we pay you this, would you just do a shout out and all this stuff? So you will get, like you said, some pretty interesting people approach you and say, hey, would you mention this on your show? And we'll give you X, Y, Z. So it's interesting. And like I said, it's funny sometimes. And some of the stuff that you wouldn't think of, why are they approaching me? You'd like, that'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some really weird, like high end clothing lines that are like $80 for like a t-shirt, and I'm like, what about my page makes you think that my followers want $80 like white t-shirts? Like nothing. Like
Wait, is it signed by Stan Lee? Then maybe.
oh no. If it was signed by Stan Lee, I wouldn't be giving it out to anyone. That'd just be mine, for the record.
Yeah, that's mine. That's I'm wearing that all day long. And now, like we're talking about, yes, there potentially could be some money, or you could do some things like that. But like you said, it's all about community, and it's doing it because what you love, and you've got an awesome charity that you work with and you're very passionate about. So yeah, I just want you to have like an opportunity to tell everyone about the water charity as well.
Yeah. So I think it was last year. Water for People had this live table read with the actors from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It was called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Water Crisis. And that's what got my attention. And the more I researched on what they were doing, it was just like, especially like with COVID and everything, like we were just all community, a whole world went through, to think about not being able to have clean water to wash your hands during a pandemic. Like it just like water is something that we all take for granted so much. And there are people around the world who don't have access to clean water at all. And this charity, the Water for People, they're going around the world and making it possible for people to get that water sustainably, not just like sending them bottles of water, like putting in filtration systems and things of that nature, and then really going out into the world. And what got me so much, I think I like read all these things about superheroes and, people saving the world. And then I find this nonprofit trying to save the world. And right. I just didn't have any other choice, in my opinion, really. Like I even did a video for them. It was hashtag why I give water. Because it's a big thing, and like we take it for granted how easy it is to just turn on the faucet. There are people around the world don't have that, and Water for People is definitely trying to make that happen for more people. Like, see, and this is what I got this from my platform, and I'm so much happier working with this non-for-profit, this organization, than getting money from commercials and things like that. Like, and this, like, the Water for People, if you haven't checked them out, they're on Instagram. I'm sure there's a link down below because Jeff's on point with everything. And just check them out. It's not that much to help every month, and it really, really goes a long way. And I just really hope, if anyone don't have to listen to my podcast, I'd love for you to do it. But definitely go check out Water for People. I'm just trying to help the nerd community. They're trying to save the world. So yeah,
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'll walk over, turn the faucet on, and then turn around and grab something, do something, and it's still running. And I gotta mentally keep telling myself that, people have to literally like walk 2-3-5 miles to get any water, and walk back, and then they have to carry these buckets of water, and you got organizations like Water for People that are, like I said, doing your irrigation systems or digging wells. They're actually bringing water, and they are real superheroes bringing this to people. That is such, we take for granted this life-giving water, and we're like, just turn the faucet on, who cares? Let it run for 5 minutes, who cares? Yeah, and this really is a big deal and is a problem. So that's awesome that you're doing that. I appreciate you doing that and sharing the word about that. I'm going to be doing more with them as well now, because like I said, it really does open your eyes when you look at this stuff. And I watched a couple of those videos. I'm like, yep. you see it once, you're like, yep, got to do something.
Yeah, like I said, I literally that table read is what caught my eye. I mean, they literally had the entire cast, including like Chris Evans, like reading like the entire movie, basically, like while the original artist was drawing like the images, like, and that were also going up. And then I just started watching those videos. Like I said, I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm doing this. There's no way around it. I have to. Yep.
Yeah, maybe we create some. Maybe we do something, and all the proceeds go to water for everyone. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. If anyone is watching right now, we still got 10 people watching right now. If anyone has any questions, shoot them all over in the chat right now. Otherwise, Kyle, I really appreciate you coming by and being on the channel here. I said I wanted to try and keep it under an hour, and we're about an hour right now. So we didn't go too far over. But man, keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate everything. We're obviously going to keep doing things together, and I appreciate it. And anything else you want to say?
Yeah, just thank you for having me on. This is a true gift for me. I'm usually on the other end. So
You're gonna sit back and relax. I'll put the links in. Don't worry.
to be a guest was a great experience for me, and I'm looking forward to hopefully doing it more in the future with the rest of our great community. I actually am having Wild Unboxing Comics coming on my podcast next week. So checking it out, guys.
Yeah, Wild is an awesome guy. He's part of the Samurai Sunday crew, auction crew that I do stuff with. Check out his channel, Wild Comics Unboxing, on both IG and on YouTube. He has some killer content that he puts out there. He cracks open slabs. He drops them from roofs. He teaches you how to press. So he's got awesome stuff there. Make sure you check him out in there. And then next week, we've got the Samurai Sunday auction. That'll be on my channel right here. So it's going to move from Wild Comics to here. And then the following week, I'm going to actually have Duffy Boy Comics on. And we're going to talk about how to open a virtual comic book store.
Now, is he actually going to show his face?
I'm not going to say.
Oh my God!
I'm not going to say.
Okay, everyone, if you don't know, that might be the key episode that of all episodes.
The first cover appearance. He may or may not. I did just send him a mask, just so you know. If you go on his IG, you will see he never shows his face in there, but he has a dog that he shows his face a lot. So the ongoing joke, and Duffy, I don't know if you're still here, is that he's actually a dog. Duffy is a dog that runs the camera and does all the new comic stuff.
The most impressive dog on the face of the planet. Sorry, Lou.
Oh, for sure. He can draw, he can do everything.
Oh boy.
All right. Thank you again, everyone. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm doing the more, Mondays with Shelby. We're going to talk about price variance. I'm also going to be doing the giveaway. I'm going to announce the winner for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway from Instagram. So look at the video before this one. Comment below on that one. That's how you're going to get entered in that. And then tomorrow at 8 o'clock Central, I'll be doing the live giveaway for that. And then we'll talk about some price variance and some history from the 70s all the way up into the 2000s here. So again, thank you very much. There's Duffy. He's here doing orders, having some dog treats. We appreciate you, man. And we will see you all next tomorrow. Thanks again, Kyle. I appreciate everything.
My pleasure. Thank you.